Hey you guys, it's Carolyn from Homesteading Family, and for the last several weeks we have been talking about chore time on the homestead and the different chore times that we have throughout our day to help our day run smoothly and productively. So I know that I have gone over quite a few different chore times throughout the day. That just helps us to organize our days to have these different chore times or sets of activity that we know we need to do at a different time of day. So today I'd like to put that all together for you and show you how that all works together in sequence for an average day on our homestead. Now, I got to tell you right now, there are very few average days on our homestead. When you combine animals and gardens and the weather and 9 children and 2 adults and a whole bunch of activity and people coming and going, guests and things, it's very rare to have just a standard day, whatever that looks like. So I always have my normal standard that I shoot for, and that's more as a tool to help me know where to fall back into schedule when things normalize, when we do have a normal moment. It helps me to keep on track, and it also helps me to know what things just absolutely must get done every day in order to keep our household running. The way that I have the chores scheduled, I know that if we just do our chores some point throughout the day, then our household will stay running at a bare minimum, even if we have a lot of other things going on and we're coming and going, or other people are coming and going, or there's fun activities, or there's hard work days on the homestead. So let's start at the beginning of the day in our daily schedule and just walk right through it so you can see how it comes together. Now, usually our household is awake and moving by 6:30 at the latest. Josh and I are up quite a bit earlier, and some of our older kids prefer to be up a whole lot earlier and up and getting their stuff done in the morning. But the first chore set happens at about the 6:30 mark, where people are getting up, getting dressed, having their quiet time, and moving on to their chore times. Now, that's when morning chore time happens. If you're not starting morning chores by 7 a.m., you're probably running a little bit behind in our household. That's because we aim for a 7:30 breakfast. Now, again, aiming is the key word here. We don't want to be rigid. We need our days to be flexible and to have the flexibility to be people-centered and relationship-centered and not to-do list centered. That's especially hard for me. I'm very much a type A personality who really likes to get my to-dos done. And so it's important for me to remind myself constantly that this regular schedule needs to be flexible and focused on people. So a regular morning, we're talking about a 7:30 breakfast. All of those morning chores should be done by that point. We're usually wrapped up with breakfast by about 8 o'clock, and then we do some table time where we do a school lesson or something at the chalkboard while all of the children are gathered together. That means that we're getting up from the table at about 8:15-ish, right in that range. When we get up from the table, we then start off about a 30-minute daily chore time. Now, if you remember, that daily chore set is where we have rotating chores. Everybody has a different chore every day of the week. And these are the things that are just the standards that keep our household tidy and stocked with food, stocked with all the supplies we need, and have enough prepared food for the different meal sets that we need to have it prepared for. After that, we move right into laundry time, and this is where we fold laundry all together as a family. We kind of keep the laundry running throughout the day whenever we think of it. Usually we're doing between 1 and 2 complete loads of laundry a day. So this is the time of day where we all come together and we fold that laundry. Usually I'm reading out loud while the toddlers are sitting right next to me, practicing sitting still, and the big kids or the older kids fold their laundry and sort it while I read aloud to them, something that we all enjoy. After that time, we have our transition time into school, which means that we have that little transition chore set where everybody knows what they're supposed to do as we transition on to the next thing. So then we start our school time on a school day, or if it's a homestead day, maybe in the middle of summer, we have to have a big preserving day or a big garden planting day. It's right here that we're going to transition to that set of time. Usually this is about 9:30 in the morning. Then we go ahead with our school day. We take a recess or two in the middle of it as necessary. We have one scheduled, but sometimes if people are squirrely, we'll get outside and do a little bit of extra running around or playtime or a little PE. Then we transition at about 12:30 to household cleanup time. And this is a time of day where we just all go around together throughout the house. We kind of make it a game where we just clean up all of our school stuff and anything that's been made a mess of during the morning hours. And we can make a mess really quickly. Thankfully, we can also clean it up really quickly too. Then we move on to lunchtime, which is a pretty free form. For us, we don't necessarily sit together for lunch. We do for breakfast and dinner, but everybody can kind of sit around. If it's a beautiful day outside, a lot of people will go outside and go sit and eat their meal there. And then they have an hour of free time at that point where they can go play, they can do any of the approved activities that they get to do. Preferably if it's beautiful outside, we go outside and get some exercise in the fresh air and the sunshine. After that point, we then have a transition at about 1:30 in the afternoon to nap time. Now, only 2 of my smallest children still actually take a nap, but nap time is code word in our house for getting some lunch dishes cleaned up, getting the little guys down for lunch or for nap time, and then having a quiet time in the house. This is very, very important to me. And moms, if you have children in the house or dads, this is a great time for you. All of my children have been trained since they were very young to take a nap at the same time so that we can have a quiet time in the house where mama can get a break. This is actually for me when I get to do some office time and I sit down and work on things like this video for you guys. This gives me a couple hours of quiet time. In order to be old enough to stay up from nap time in our house, you need to, one, not need a nap anymore, not get tired and grumpy by the afternoon, but also be able to make the right decisions with yourself, be able to behave yourself while mama's not having to watch you very closely. Now, of course, the older kids are able to use this time to complete their schoolwork because usually they have more school than can be done in the morning hours, especially as they're getting into high school. The younger kids have free time. They have kind of a list of things that they can do as long as it stays quiet. They can either go play loudly outside or they can be inside quietly, allowing the little guys to rest and mama to be able to focus on whatever it is that she needs to do at the desk. Or to take a nap, or to put my feet up, whatever it is that needs to get done. That is my time to get to do it. We kind of transition and have more free time depending on your age group or finishing your project time all the way until dinner time, dinner chore time. Dinner chore time in the summer starts at about 5 o'clock, and that's our evening chore set where we take care of animals, but we also have people in the kitchen helping with dinner. This is a time of day where, especially in the summertime, I really have to pay attention to the clock because we can all get playing outside and play right past chore time at 5 o'clock. But there's one thing that everybody doesn't forget, and that's that they're hungry by about 6 or 6:30. So if we don't start chore time about 5, we won't be ready to eat dinner by about 6 or 6:30. So we try to really hit that 5 o'clock chore time in the afternoon. And we try to make sure when we're doing our dinner prep that we get the kitchen as cleaned up as we go as we can, so that on the other side of dinner, we can do some nice activities, either all together out in the sunshine, or sometimes people break apart and have things that they want to do themselves. That kind of takes us through all the chore sets that we have of the day. We sprinkle jurisdiction cleans in throughout the day, and usually they're attached to all the chore sets. So usually after morning chores and evening chores, everybody just goes and checks their jurisdiction just to make sure it's tidy. Whenever I feel like the house is getting too messy for my comfort, or if we need to change gears really quickly and unexpectedly, or maybe even if we have company coming or show up unexpectedly, we'll just call a jurisdiction clean and make sure that that gets cleaned up so that the house can be tidy. Because again, we can make a big mess quickly, but we can clean it up quickly if we all work together. So I really want to reiterate that this kind of a schedule may sound really rigid to you. It's only rigid if you use it rigidly. This kind of schedule gives us structure in our day to make sure we're completing what needs to get done, but you never want to use it as a taskmaster for the people or for your family. You want to make sure that you're flexible with the timing of it and use it as a tool and not the master. As such, a schedule like this can bring a lot of peace and a lot of consistency to a household. But if it becomes the master, it can be very oppressive very quickly. Even to mama, you can start feeling kind of that heaviness of, oh my goodness, I'm just not keeping up with the clock. You never want to allow that to happen. If that starts to happen, it's time to step away from the clock, go back to just doing those important chore times sometime throughout the day and stop worrying about the timing attached to it. We want to make sure that as our children and as other people in our household, that we have that focus on people and on loving people and on relationships that makes our household and our household management about caring for people and not about people caring for our house. So it's important to always keep your priorities straight when it comes to managing a productive house. That said, you can care for people and you can have a relaxed, loving environment that you do it in while still getting a lot done if you create a structure for your home. So I really, really highly recommend that you put a few of these chore sets into place to bring some structure to your day so you can get a little more done and take better care of the people around you. Take care, you guys. Goodbye.